Hello, today I want to show you some mating studies. Now, what is the difference between a mating study and a normal composition that, for example, I showed in the last two videos? The difference is very simple. In the last two videos, I showed you studies where White had to find a winning idea or had to prove that White is winning, or there is only one way to draw the position, for example, with a stalemate or by repetition. In this kind of mating study, you have to find a mate in a given amount of moves. For example, in this position, you have to find a mate in 3 moves. So White moves 3 times, Black only 2 times. Makes sense. Now, in this position, you can, if you want, stop the video and try to solve it yourself. If not, then, or if you have already found the solution, then I will show it to you now. The only move to mate in 3 moves is with bishop to g3. Now, this composition is not too difficult because Black does not have a lot of responses here. Here, Black has only king to b4, and now you have to find a move where whatever Black plays, either he goes to c5, a5, a3, or c3, you have to mate him. And how can you do that? It's very easy if you looked at the move once, or at the correct move once. It is bishop to h4. Now, why is that? Now, let's say he goes back to c5, then you can mate him with bishop takes e7 with mate. If we go back, if Black goes king to a5, then bishop to e1 is checkmate. See that the knight is protecting a4 and c4. This is kind of the only giveaway that it has to only be bishop moves. King c3 also happens or comes with bishop to e1 checkmate, and king a3 comes with bishop takes e7 checkmate. Let's look at another example from what a mating study could look like. Now we have this position, and again, you have to find a mate in only 3 moves. Now, again, you can solve or try to solve the position by your own and stop the video, or we can now go through it together. Now, the problem with this position is that, for example, if you play, let's say, or just promote the queen on f8, then you cannot mate in 3 moves, only in 4. Why is that? Because of the move bishop to b7. Now, why is that a problem? Now, let's say you take on f5, you want to mate f2, or it doesn't matter if you play queen to c5 or whatever, there is bishop f3. And, well, yeah, you made Black, but it has taken now 4 moves. And this is not what we want. So this is the whole problem of this position. Now, how can we actually mate in 3 moves? The only correct move is to play bishop to h8. Now, this is a weird looking move, but this is the only way to really only get a mate in 3. Why is that? Now, let's look at the move bishop to b7, right? It worked before with this threat of like going to f3, giving a check, and wasting a move for us. But now we have the move queen to a1. Without the bishop on a1, the queen now can go there. Now, here the queen is either going to f1 with mate, or if Black moves the king on g2, you have queen on g7 mate. Now, this is one reason why bishop to h8 gets mate in 3. Now, Black has different moves, right? Well, bishop c8 is basically the same. So let's look at a different move. Let's say Black plays b4. Now we have queen takes a6. Either we get a mate on f1 again. Okay, we take here. Most we take here, we have a mate. And if he goes to g2, then we have queen g6 mate. Okay, what else is there? Let's say f4. Now it's a bit more tricky. Now we have the only way to now mate in 2 is to play knight to e4. And there's no way for black to stop queen takes f2 with mate. Here, for example, queen takes f2, there's no way of stopping that. And the last move, king to g2, now we have queen a8, check. Now, if the king goes to g1, there's queen g8, and if the king goes to g3 with king to f3, checkmate. Now, the whole problem here for white really is that after bishop b7, there is no queen a1 check. So if you find this idea, then you have pretty much solved the whole position. Now for the last position, I want to show you a really nice mate in 4. Now you can again try to pause the video and try to solve it yourself. If you just want to see the solution, this is fine. The only move to mate in 4 moves is to play rook a6. Now, what is the idea behind rook a6? It is pretty simple. You want to move the rook away and then play queen a1 checkmate. Looks pretty simple, but then why isn't rook a5 or rook a7, or for this matter also rook a4 a mate in 4? This is what we will see now. Let's say black just takes on c1. Then I would say the mate is pretty simple. We give a check on a1, then go to c1, and now there is no way to stop queen a1 checkmate. If he takes on c1, then queen a1 is checkmate because the bishop protects d2. And if he does anything else, then the rook just defends the queen here. So then why is only the rook on a6 this mate in 4? Now, black can move the rook to e2. And now this is the reason why the rook has to be on a6 here. Because now we have to play rook to e6. Now, remember that the black pawn goes down, so he cannot take this with check. So if he just takes on e6, then again, queen a1 is just checkmate. So the only way to stop the mate for at least one move is to play bishop a6, and then after queen takes, whatever black plays here, it is a checkmate on a1 again. So the last possibility for black here is to play the move rook takes d2. And here, again, we have to find the only move that is a forced checkmate in 3. And it's now rook to d6. Now, there are 2 possibilities that black could play here. Let's say he plays bishop to a7 again, then this is just the same theme. Queen takes a5, a7, and if rook takes d6, then rook queen to a1 is checkmate. And if, of course, king takes c1, then just queen to a1 is checkmate. And if the king now tries to run away to c3 after the move rook d6, of course, because now the pawn is not on d2 anymore, protecting c3, then we have this move bishop to d2 check. Now black has only 2 legal moves. Either he goes to c4 and now queen to d5 is a checkmate, or king to b2 and now queen to a1 is checkmate once again. If you find those studies, compositions, whatever you want to call them, interesting, then please let me know in the comments or giving a thumbs up or thumbs down, and we will see us in the next video.